Nampak Doktor, nampak.
Boleh 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 mula sekarang lah ya.
Ya, dipersilakan.
Okey, terima kasih Dr. Asma. Okey, terima kasih semua yang sudi hadirlah hari ini untuk kita sama-sama bincang tentang structure qualitative thesis. Okey. Okey. Kejap saya. Alright. Kejap. Okay, so hari ini topik kita understand the structure of a qualitative thesis. Suara saya boleh dengar okey ke?
Okay, loud and clear.
Alright, thank you. Okay, so ini antara 4 objektif yang kita akan capai bila kita bila kita faham topik ni. Okay. Okay, jadi objektif yang pertama adalah untuk kita faham tentang effective writing, okay, penulisan yang berkesan. Yang kedua adalah untuk kita bezakan antara konsep kajian kualitatif dan kuantitatif. Okay, yang ketiga adalah untuk kita faham struktur tesis kualitatif, dan bila kita dah faham, bila kita dah capai objektif pertama, objektif kedua dan ketiga, so insyaAllah nanti kita boleh menulis dengan berkesan. So kita boleh gunakan masa kita dengan lebih efektif. Okay. Okay, so ini adalah antara konten yang akan kita cover hari ini. Okay, secara ringkas lah. Sebab kita ada 45 minit saja kan. Okay. Okay, so topik yang pertama.
Sorry Dr. Aslinda.
Sorry?
Someone is requesting to have a class in English. Can we have in English?
Boleh. So start semula
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Thanks Miss Nasrin for letting us know.
Okay. Nasrin. Okay, so hari ni kita fully English ke macam mana? Sebab ada juga yang request in Malay juga, in bahasa, so macam mana? Kita combine ke?
Simple English will do.
Okay. Okay, so we start all over again. So shampoo pun tak apa. Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is the topic that we will cover in today's discussion, which is to understand the structure of a qualitative thesis. Okay, so these are among the objectives. Okay, 4 objectives that we would like to cover, to fulfill. Okay, the first is to understand an effective writing. Okay, penulisan yang berkesan. And second objective is to differentiate the concept of qualitative and quantitative research. So meaning to say, when we can differentiate between these two types, so meaning to say, hopefully we will not mix how to present qualitative with quantitative. Okay. And the third objective is to understand the structure of a qualitative thesis. And last, we hope when we already fulfill, we can achieve all these previous 3 objectives. So hopefully we can make more effective use of time lah. Okay, in writing, in preparing our qualitative thesis. All right. Okay, so these are among the contents that will be covered in today's discussion. Okay. Okay, so the first is an effective writing. Okay, so actually when we decide to discuss about the structure of qualitative thesis, so why it is very important for us, okay, to understand about an effective writing, okay, because of, for example, this is the structure of a qualitative thesis, okay. However, even though we have a very good structure, okay, a very well planned, but if we are unable to write effectively, we are unable to deliver, okay, what the subsection, what the heading is all about. So, of course, the examiner, okay, unable to understand our thesis, okay, meaning to say, if we write ineffectively, we are able to deliver the meaning of our thesis, regardless, even though we have a very good thesis structure. Okay. Okay, so actually, for an effective writing, okay, we need to go through a process. Okay, for example, we start the process with the outline. Okay, meaning to say we need to structure what we would like to include. Okay, we need to structure what we would like to include inside each of the chapter or heading, for example. Okay, and the second, read or review source materials. Okay, meaning to say, for example, we would like to write research background. Okay, meaning to say we need to read, we need to review related materials. Okay, so that we can write research background effectively. Okay, meaning to say we can deliver the research background to the reader or the examiner. Okay, and then we need to start writing. Okay, and then we need to read previous writing to improve the transition between section, meaning to say we need to refer our previous work, okay, our previous subsection, so that we can proceed, we can move to the next section effectively. Okay, maksudnya bila kita nak tulis satu section ini, kita perlu rujuk juga kepada section yang terdahulu supaya kita ada satu connection, kita ada satu link, okay, yang baik. Okay, sebagai contoh, for example, we would like to write chapter 4. Okay, we need to say at the end of the chapter 3. Okay, at the, for example, conclusion section, we need to highlight the next chapter will cover the findings, okay, whereby the findings have been attained through the methodology that have discussed in this chapter. Lebih kurang macam itulah. Alright. And then we proceed with writing, okay. And then we need to we need to discuss the writing with others. We need to say we need someone, the best, sorry. Okay, we need someone who can help us to justify, how to say, to help us to inform whether we already achieved the objective of that section or not. Okay, meaning to say whether they can understand what we have right or not. Okay, and then we need to revise again, and then we need to repeat the cycle. Okay, for the next section lah, or for the next chapter. Okay, and then there is also 7 principles for an effective writing. Okay, the first principle is audience analysis. Okay, and the second is purpose. Third is content. Fourth is organization structure. Fifth, style and grammar. Sixth is presentation, and last is revision. Okay, for the first principle, okay, in order for us to achieve an effective writing, okay, we have to know who is our audience. Okay, we need to analyze who is our audience. For example, for thesis, the audience for our thesis is the examiner, the supervisor. Okay, and then maybe for the future researcher. Okay, so we need to know what is their expectation. Okay, for example, the examiner, what is the expectation of the examiner when they read our thesis. Okay, for example, of course, the examiner expect us to deliver the thesis professionally according to based on the academic style. Okay, we have a proper citation, we have a proper justification. Okay, for every each decision that we have made in our thesis lah. Okay, and then for the second principle is the purpose. Okay, we need to know what is the purpose of our writing. For example, okay, we have the basic arrangement of our chapter is chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, for chapter 1, we have introduction. Okay, so what is the purpose of introduction chapter? Okay, what is the purpose of second chapter, literature review chapter? What is the purpose of boleh tanya soalan just ni. Okay, what is the purpose of chapter 3? Okay, methodology.
Hi,
Hi.
boleh tanya soalan?
Boleh. You boleh tulis dekat chat, okay kah?
Okay, boleh.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, so back to purpose, meaning to say we need to deliver to make sure that we achieve the purpose for chapter 1. Okay, meaning to say to give a brief introduction regarding our thesis. For example, chapter 3. Okay, methodology. Okay, what is the purpose of chapter 3, methodology? Meaning to say the purpose is we would like to explain the method, the selection of the method in order for us to achieve our findings. Okay, so we need to make sure that we for every each of this chapter, we need to achieve their specific purpose, specific goal. Okay, and then regarding, we move to principle 3, the third principle, which is the content. Okay, meaning to say, we back to the previous example. For example, the content for chapter 3. Okay, what should we include in chapter 3? Okay, whether the content is reliable, whether the content is accurate. Okay, and then for first principle, okay, sorry ya, saya tengok chat kejap. Kejap saya buka chat. Kejap saya baca chat kejap. Sorry, suara tenggelam timbul suara saya dah okey ke? Suhaila?
Yang tu tadi doktor.
Oh, yang
Awal-awal
tadi.
tadi.
Okey. Okey, sorry saya baca soalan Jasmi kejap. Saya pelajar UKM, saya ingin bertanya. Bagaimana saya lampaui kedapatan kajian untuk 3 sampel berlainan? Adakah separate mengikut objektif atau mengikut sampel? Okey, Nasrin. Okay, for your information, one of our colleagues asked whether we can have more than one for research findings chapter. Then he asked how we would like to attach the findings for 3 different sample type lah. Adakah separate mengikut objektif? Okay, Jasni, okay, actually we can have more than one chapter that covers findings. Okay, meaning to say the basic structure for a thesis is 1 until 5. Okay, but then if we have more, for example, if we present in one chapter, it will be such a long chapter. Okay, it takes forever to read. So we can have a few chapter lah on that. And then my suggestion is we need to present based on the objective. Okay, based on the objective. Okay, sorry. Actually, I should answer the question at the end of this presentation. It's okay. We continue with the principle number 4. Okay, which is the organization or structure. Okay, so this is what we would like to discuss after this. Okay. And then principle 5, we have style and grammar. Of course, we need to check our grammar. Okay, we have a few tools, which, for example, Grammarly. We have Grammarly. Okay, and then regarding the style. Okay, for example, it takes about years for us to complete our study. Okay, for example, we wrote chapter 1 during semester 1, and we just write chapter 5 in this semester. Meaning to say, it takes different. It takes different. We take a different time. Okay, when writing our when we write our chapter. Meaning to say, we at that moment when we write our first chapter. Okay, maybe at that time we we have a poor writing skill as compared to now when we write our chapter 5. Okay, so meaning to say when the examiner receive our thesis, uh, they maybe can identify why these students have different writing style. Okay, different writing style in chapter 1 and different writing style in chapter 4 and 5, for example. Okay, so meaning to say it is good for us to review, okay, review our earlier chapter, okay, so that we have a constant, we have a similar writing style for all chapters, okay. And then principle 6 is presentation. Okay, meaning to say we have to make sure that we present the chapter effectively, for example, by using the tables or by using the figures, okay? And how presentation also include how we are going to explain for a certain topic. For example, we start with definition, and then we start with elaboration, and then we start with the example, okay? So we move to principle 7, which is the revision. Okay, of course we need to double check for the whole thesis lah. Okay, alright. Sorry, kenapa tak boleh? Okay, so we move to second topic, which is qualitative versus quantitative research. Okay, okay. For qualitative, okay, qualitative research, it collects non-numerical data, whereby quantitative, it collects numerical data, okay. And then for qualitative, the results are presented as written description, okay. But for quantitative, the results are presented in tables, graph, and charts. So we can see the example that I have extracted from my thesis and also my dissertation. Okay, clearly we can see the differences between these two studies. Sorry, during my PhD, I've done a qualitative, and for my master, I've done quantitative. Okay, so we can see over here how the study have presented the results. Okay, for qualitative, we have a quite long elaboration, but for quantitative, we have tables and graph. Okay. Okay, and more about qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative involve exploratory with smaller sample size, which is we can say based on data saturation. But for quantitative, it involve measuring and count with larger sample size. For example, we refer Craigie and Morgan's table in order for us to decide our sample size. Okay, so we can see here extracted also from my thesis and dissertation. Okay, we can see regarding the qualitative sample size. Okay, um, okay, we can see here, for example, I mentioned about the data saturation. Okay, I provide a definition regarding the data saturation. Okay, according to Fast and Ness, okay, data saturation is reached when there is enough information to replicate the study, when the ability to obtain additional new information has been attained, and further coding is no longer feasible. Okay, so I think we have to justify why hello, okay ka?
Okay.
Okay. So I think we have to justify why we stop at that particular number. Okay, for example, in my study, there are three types of informants participated in this study. Okay, and then in total about 19 informant. Okay, so we need to justify while working mentioned there is an extremely large number of articles, book chapters, and books. Okay, recommended guidance and suggestion anywhere from 5 to 50 participants as adequate. Therefore, the number of informants in this study is considered as acceptable and valid. Okay, meaning to say we need to provide a proper justification why our sample size is amounted to this. Okay, all right. And then then for this is the example for quantitative sample size. Okay, of course, quantitative we have a larger sample size, and then we usually we can calculate, or we just simply look at to the Craigie and Morgan's table lah. So this is one of the one of the points that make these two studies different among each other. Okay, and then qualitative also. Okay, it explore wide array of dimension, and then for quantitative, it explore narrow array of dimension. Okay, for example, these two are the examples of the interview question and also survey, okay, questionnaire that I have extracted from my previous studies. Okay, for example, we can look at to this question: does the government encourage the older person to keep working? Okay, we ask further: if yes, how? If no, why? Meaning to say, we would like to know in depth lah. Okay, so that we can get a rich explanation, a rich findings. As compared to quantitative, we ask the respondent to fill in the questionnaire form, okay, with 5 Likert type of scale, whether they agree or moderately agree. Okay, so meaning to say, quantitative question just end here, okay, whether they agree or not. Okay, as compared to qualitative, it explore a wider perspective, okay, wider opinion from respondent, okay, informants. Okay, so we proceed with chapter 1. Okay, we just cover a very brief elements. Okay, okay, for in chapter 1 introduction, okay, we need to include also the statement of topic and focus. Okay, we need to say, we need to discuss, for example, in quantitative, we have DV. Okay, we need to include our DV also. Okay, and then same goes with qualitative. We also need to include the statement, sorry, we need to include the topic and focus of our study. Okay, uh, at the earlier chapters, both qualitative and quantitative have quite similar elements lah. Okay, but then they have a big difference in the chapter 4 and 5. Okay, findings and discussion. Okay, and then in chapter 1 also, we should include the vision and motivation, which is the research question, research objective. Okay, why we conduct this study? Okay, what motivates us to conduct this study? Okay, of course, we need to base on the problem statement lah. Okay, okay, thesis structure. Sorry, choice of research setting and overall data collection strategy. Meaning to say, this is the methodology, but then for the in chapter 1, we also need to include the brief overview, okay, brief overview regarding our methodology, so that when the reader, when the examiner read our thesis, they have a brief idea about our research design, research approach, okay. But then in detail, we should discuss the methodology in chapter 3, for example. Okay, and then we need to include also our thesis structure. Okay. Okay. And then this one of the example, okay, for the structure for introduction chapter, which is, we have a research background, problem statement, RQ, RO. Supposedly RQ come first. We have inquiry, and then we need to arrange. We need to decide the objective so that we can fulfill our research question. Okay, and then we proceed with scope, significant, definition of terminologies, and thesis outline. Okay, actually, this actually we have a lot of reference how what should we include in chapter 1. Okay, but then actually we have to get back to the format or guideline requirement set by our university or faculty lah. Okay, because I believe different university have different guideline. Okay, but at least we have some overview regarding the structure for chapter 1. Okay, and then we move to chapter 2. Okay, which is usually it is about the literature review. Okay, briefly, it should include the study, what the study have learned from previous research. Okay, and of course comes with a proper citation. Okay, and then we also need to relate what the study have learned from previous research with our current study, meaning to say we need to link. Okay, we need to link whatever we have, whatever the information that we have, what that we have found in the literature review, and then we need to combine, and then we need to use all those information to support the argument, to support the purpose, the topic of our study. And then we also should include the framework. Okay, and then also the theories lah. Okay, so this is the example for the example of the outline for chapter 2. Okay. Okay, for a brief overview, okay, this is the example from my PhD thesis. My title is about labor force participation and engagement by the older person in enhancing productive aging. So the main is productive aging. Okay, so right after the introduction, I include the main topic, okay, which is the productive aging. Okay, and then I include the a bit about the population, since this about the productive aging about the older person, so I include also some information about the older person. Okay, meaning to say, if you we can see that the older person's population, it doesn't this not refers to sample size. Okay, I highlight sample size in chapter 3, but in this chapter it covers the population of the older person in this country, the overall, the whole picture regarding the older person. Okay, and then I also include the policy, research gap, okay, and issues and challenges. Actually, 2.6 is about the problem statement. Okay, I explain in detail about the element that I have discussed in problem statement. Okay, we need to strengthen our problem statement with some evidence lah, some justification from previous research. Okay, of course with, again, with proper citation. And then I include also the prominent practices from other countries lah. Okay, meaning to say we can use these two countries as example, as a good example. Okay, and then I include also about the theories and research framework. Okay, and start with conclusion. Okay, actually, it is best for chapter 1 not to have introduction, but it start with research background. But actually, it is again back to the format of your university. Okay, and then for the rest of chapter, we also need to include the introduction and conclusion. Okay, all right. One second. Okay, and then we proceed with chapter 3. Okay, whereby it is usually covers the methodology. Okay, briefly, it should include how the study develop and appropriate research strategy. Okay, our strategy, how to achieve our research objective. Okay, research strategy, or our method, how we are going to achieve our findings or results. Okay, we also should include how the study gain access and collected the data. Okay, for example, it start with introduction and end with conclusion lah. Okay, we have research design, selection criteria, sample size, techniques, interview questions. Okay, how we develop our interview question. Okay, our data collection, triangulation, analysis, reliability, validity, and ethical concern. Okay, we do have reliability and validity in qualitative study. Okay, and then we proceed with chapter 4. Okay. So for chapter 4, usually it covers the findings. Okay, it should include how the study structured our analysis. Okay, and we arrive at the choice of themes and heading. Okay, get back to the question from Yasni. Okay, we need to present our findings based on research objective. Okay, we need to align. For example, in our chapter 1, we highlight research question 1. Sorry, a research objective. Okay, research objective 1 is A. So 4.4 is A. Okay, research objective 2 is B. So 4.5 is B. Okay, A, B, C, D, E. Okay, and then include how the study presenting the data. Okay. In previous workshop, we have covered a bit lah regarding how to present the qualitative data. Okay, we have some format, a bit format, how we are going to present our dequotation from informants. Okay, meaning to say anonymity. Okay, include how the data provides, okay, uh, evidence for what the study have found. Mean to say the quotation lah. Okay, anonymous. Okay, sorry. Okay, so for example, we can see here introduction, conclusion. Okay, start with the introduction and end with conclusion. Okay, it also include the response rate and demographic profile of the informants. Okay, it is a bit similar. Okay, similar style with quantitative study, which they also have demographic profile. Okay, so same goes with qualitative study. We need to include the demographic profile of our informants. Okay, for example, if we have 3 types, so we need to include their demographic profile or organizational profile for all respondents. Okay, and then we proceed with the objective. Okay, and then let's say if our objective have different levels, for example, okay, different types. Okay, so we need to properly structure the findings based on the levels or types lah. Okay. Okay, so we move to chapter 5. Okay, our last chapter, maybe. Okay, again, it is depend on how we are going to structure our thesis. Okay, this could be your chapter 7 or 8 or 9. Okay, so usually in this case, we take example, chapter 5, discuss about the discussion, recommendation, and conclusion. Okay, so again, in this chapter, we should structure using the themes and heading described in the earlier chapter, meaning to say we need to follow the same style. Okay, for example, if the chapter 4 present the findings according to RO. Okay, same goes with chapter 5. We need to discuss based on the RO lah. Okay, but then in my case, I change the heading a bit. Okay, for example, 4.4, informant's perception of job opportunities provided to the, for the easier example, okay, 4.5, understanding the participation of the older person in employment. Okay, we need to know, we need to know the reason why the older person participate in employment. Okay, so the discussion I arrange in 5.4, which is the mixed employment reason. Okay, and then after we present the findings, okay, for all objectives, okay, we proceed with the contribution, recommendation. Okay, and then it is preferable for recommendation. Okay, we recommend for future policy and action plan, future practice, theory, and for future studies. Okay, and then we end the chapter with limitation and again conclusion. Okay, and the second point include what the study have learned from the data. Of course, in the discussion, we need to comment, we need to elaborate, we need to proper justification, just justify. Okay, why we found A, B, C, why the study found why the study have a different finding with another study. Okay, and we include the summary of what the study have found. Okay, for example, over here we have recapitulation of the findings. Okay, a summary of the findings. Okay, and then include what the study think it all means. Okay, and then include final comments on all the basic points in the argument. Okay, it should include in the discussion. Okay. Okay, so in the next workshop, we will go one by one lah for every each section. Okay, and then we also provide a personal coaching. Okay, if you would like to have a one-to-one discussion. Okay, so if you would like to read my weekly sharing, so can go to my Facebook. Okay, so we just end our presentation. Okay, let's check. You can write the question in chat platform, yeah. Uh, just ni definition of. Kalau ada soalan boleh tulis dekat chat ya. Saya cuba jawab. Slide chapter 3 kejap ya. Okay. Can I see chapter 1 again? Chapter 3. Okay. Saya buka chapter 3 dulu Alang ada dekat sini. Farhan. Nama what is your opinion? Okay, saya jawab soalan Yasni dulu. Okay. Definition of terminologies. Adakah definisi konseptual dan operational? Kalau dalam kajian kualitatif menggunakan definition of terminologies, manakala untuk kajian kuantitatif menggunakan operational definition. Kalau saya guna konseptual sahaja. Okay, as compared to operational. Sebab operational kalau tak silap saya, dia perlu explain macam mana kita nak measure kan. Macam mana kita nak measure elemen tu. Okay. Tapi kalau thesis saya tak measure specific elemen tu. So saya tak include operational lah. Okay. Is that a must to have theoretical framework in a qualitative research? Ya, saya rasa perlu sebab sebenarnya framework ini dia framework ini dia beri satu gambaran awal, maksudnya satu rangka, okey, tentang perjalanan perjalanan tesis kita. Contohnya tesis kita ada tesis kita nak kaji tentang elemen A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so framework itu bagi satu gambaran yang ringkas tentang kesemua elemen ini. Okay. Qualitative is not focusing on number, but what is your opinion if the participant reach 200? Is it reliable? Sebenarnya agak banyak, tetapi kalau kita nak reach 100, tempoh Amir Farhan, tempoh interview berapa lama? Sebab kalau contohlah study saya, interview saya dalam ada yang sampai 2 jam. So kalau mungkin 100 tu dia ambil masa sangat lama lah. Ada juga responden yang jawab dalam 20 minit, 30 minit, 40 minit, berbezalah. Tapi kalau 100 tu macam agak banyak untuk kualitatif. Tapi as long as you boleh ambil proper justification macam yang saya cite Okey, contohnya kalau study saya responden 19 saja. Okey, tapi saya guna justification yang working ni kata 5 to 50 participant is adequate. Okay, so for your study, cuba cari proper justification untuk 100 ni lah. Okay, tapi saya risau takut it takes months untuk collect data. Macam tu. Tapi sebenarnya untuk kualitatif kita perlu get back kepada data saturation. Bila responden kita interview satu, kita cuba baca, interview 2 ke 3 orang, kita cuba baca, dan kita cuba cari adakah ada new findings. Kalau dah tak ada, kita boleh stop dekat situ, kita boleh justify kita dah reach data saturation. Mungkin findings you sebelum 100 dah sampai data saturation, mungkin belum lagi, maybe certain topik lah kot, tapi saya rasa agak banyak lah. Okay. Can I see chapter 3? Okay, tadi saya dah tunjuk chapter 1 ya. Okay, chapter 1. Okay. May I know why didn't use trustworthiness and rigor in data? Sebenarnya yang ni saya cover at reliability, validity, the ethics. So dia ada include juga dekat situ. Even though tidak portray secara obvious lah dekat title tu, dekat subsection. Doktor will the slide be shared? Yes, nanti saya bagi dekat Dr. As. So just conceptual framework. Kalau study saya just guna conceptual framework lah. Okay, dia ada bezakan theoretical dengan conceptual framework, which is kalau conceptual framework tu kalau theoretical kita develop based on theory, tapi kalau untuk conceptual framework tu dia ada certain element yang teori tu bagi tahu, and then kita ambil variable daripada literature dan kita develop sendiri variable element tu. Okay. It is comprehensive and clear. Thank you, Nasrin. Doktor, soalan tamubal perlu letak sumber dari artikel lebah. Maksudnya citation ke, Putri? Okey, sebenarnya kalau soalan tak kira lah kuanti ke, kuali ke, okay, we have to put a proper citation. Okay. Soalan perlu letak sumber dari artikel. Perlu letak sumber. Putri, maksudnya citation kan sini, ayat you. Maksud citation kan? Okay, let's say kalau soalan temu bual, okay, kalau kita design sendiri soalan temu bual tu, for Nasrin. Nasrin, actually we are talking about the interview question, okay, whether we should put together the sources, okay, or the citation, okay. Actually, yes, we need to put it whatever topics lah, not only for interview question, okay. Yes, 100 tu macam banyak sangat. Doctor, is analyzing qualitative data manually accepted or it must be analysed using software Atlas and Vivo? Okay, sebenarnya untuk Atlas saya tak pasti, okay, tapi saya rasa sama je konsep dengan Envivo. Sebenarnya Envivo tu tools untuk bantu kita arrange manage data kita yang banyak tu, okay, maksudnya kita tak payah print in bulk contohnya, ataupun kita nak cari certain keyword kita kena belik satu-satu, okay. Tapi dengan guna function Envivo, kita boleh search sahaja dengan cepat, okay. Dan walaupun Envivo pun of course ada auto coding juga untuk Envivo Pro kalau tak silap saya, tetapi kita sendiri researcher kita sendiri perlu check balik, okay. Berbanding dengan SPSS, kita just click whatever the variables and then Envivo yang akan run test dekat kita, akan calculate untuk kita. Okey, dan akan keluarkan berapa bacaan dia lah. Okey, tetapi lain dengan Envivo, kita yang kena cari sendiri tema tu. Okey, jadi bagi saya sekarang ni ramai yang prefer untuk kita guna Envivo lah. Maksudnya kita dah advance, take advantage lah advancement of the technology kan, kita guna Envivo. Tetapi ada juga previous lecturer ataupun previous researcher lah yang sebelum ada Envivo tu dia guna manually. Bagi saya buat manually tak salah, tetapi untuk kita senang, untuk kita percepatkan lagi dan kurang messy, better kita guna Envivo lah. Okay. Tapi bagi saya, contohlah untuk kualitatif, as long as manually pun kita boleh design tematik, apa, kita buat tematik analisis dengan betul, then okay lah, as compared to contoh kita guna Avivo tapi kita buat tematik analisis tu dengan cara yang salah. So tak boleh juga kan, kena dua-dua lah. Avivo tu lagi bantu kita lagi cepat lah buat. Terlampau banyak untuk qualitative study. Oh, yang 100 tadi kah? Questionnaire guide. Can DSV validate? Let's say it is a new question. Guide ke ni? Or do we need to do EFA or like questionnaire? Kalau saya lah, dia takut ada conflict of interest dekat situ. Maksudnya mungkin kita tak berniat pun macam tu, tapi mungkin orang akan fikir, oh SVD, of course SVD akan betulkan semua soalan tu, akan cakap okay semua betul. Mungkin lah, kita tak nak, kita elakkan lah benda tu. So of course supervisor kita sifu lah dalam topik tu kan, sebab tu dia guide kita untuk topik tersebut. Tetapi bagi saya baik kita cari expert yang lain. Maksudnya daripada universiti yang lain ke contohnya. So kat sini expert validation lah. Okay, dekat sini untuk soalan etik atirah tu saya rasa better cari yang lain lah. Sebab kalau contohlah contoh pengalaman saya, expert yang validate soalan saya pun tidak diterima untuk menjadi examiner saya. Sebab dia takut ada conflict of interest dekat situ. Okay, Nurul Hamimi, I analyze manually. As long as dia betul, then okay. For qualitative research proposal, do we need include the interview question? Okay, Umi Nasrah, kalau pendapat saya lah, untuk tunjukkan kepada panel yang kita betul-betul dah bersedia untuk collect data, untuk pass proposal, bagi saya perlu include interview question. Nak tunjukkan kita dah ready. Tetapi mungkinlah kita tak adalah dah go for expert validation. Tetapi at least kita ada first draft. Maksudnya dah tunjukkanlah kita dah ready. Okay, untuk collect data. Okay, tapi of course nak include tu pun make sure dia ada basis yang betul lah. Maksudnya macam mana, walaupun kita belum go through, contohnya walaupun kita belum go through expert validation, at least kita ada draft interview question yang kita develop question tu ikut LR ke contohnya, ataupun kita ambil daripada previous studies. Okay, tapi kena cite betul-betul lah. Betulkah ada perbezaan bentuk gaya penulisan literature review untuk kualitatif dan kuantitatif? Bagi saya kalau literature review kualitatif, explanation dia tu kena lagi rich lah. Bukan kita nak kata kuantitatif tu tak payah rich explanation. Tetapi untuk literature review kualitatif tu mungkin kita boleh includekan our other opinion dalam certain point tu. Okay. Maksudnya macam mana you present, mungkin I kena tengok dulu contoh macam mana you present your LR, then mungkin saya boleh komen. I thought we want to interview only the expert. Interview only the expert. Maksudnya Mas Sufian, maksudnya ini untuk informants ke? Nanti tolong clarify. Ataupun ini untuk expert validation ke? Ke responden, informants? Mas Sufian tolong komen kat bawah. Terlampau banyak tapi terpaksa follow juga. Tempoh 20 hingga 40 minit. Coastal community individually. Adakah, soalan saya, adakah sebelum awak capai 100 orang tu data saturation macam mana? Dah capai ke? Kalau tak, mungkinlah sebab itu topik yang saya tak biasa tentang coastal community ni, tapi mungkin kalau you boleh kata belum reach data saturation, then okay, tapi lama jugalah nak untuk habiskan tu, nak analyse. Tengku Suhaila analyze user manually pun boleh, tapi lambat sikit sebab tu ramai guna Atlas atau Unvivo untuk percepatkan lagi penulisan. Ya, betul. Kita macam tak payah messy kan. Tapi bagi saya, kalau saya lah, kalau saya baca transcribe teks tu on screen, kadang-kadang saya tak nampak apa important point. Sebelum tu saya print juga satu kopi dan kita baca dulu, familiar dulu, and then okay. Sebab kadang-kadang kita macam mungkin penat kot kita on screen. Kita kadang-kadang ada jugalah a sense of old school sikit kan. Ya kita kena conteng-conteng sikit lah. Tapi betul Envivo percepatkan lagi. Doktor, if you use 7 experts as informant, is it enough? Mungkin Siti Syahida boleh guna justification macam saya tadi tu, yang 5 hingga 50 is enough tu mungkin. Dan lagi satu dia expert kan. So okey lah. Sebab contohnya ada kajian, contohlah kita nak kaji tentang tokoh kan, ada study overseas kaji tentang tokoh seorang saja kan, mungkin dia boleh ambil justification seorang cukup untuk kajian macam tu, then okey lah. Ya, saya juga analyze manually. Untuk expert review, untuk protokol temu boleh ke saya punya ramai expert review, lagi banyak lagi bagus, cumanya make sure jangan ada kontra lah. Kadang-kadang takut ramai-ramai ada kontra, expert ni kata A, expert ni kata B, kan. Tapi hopefully okay lah. Sebab kan of course mereka expert kan, dan mana-mana pun okay, sebab tak ada siapa yang boleh argue sebab expert. Is it true it takes longer to complete the thesis for qualitative? Longer ke? Tak adalah longer pun. Kalau saya lah. Longer tu in terms of apa? Umi Nasrah sebab analyze ke atau apa? Ataupun mungkin sebab nak buat discussion ke? Boleh bagi some tips with quali with children as a study participant. I try to limit the subject age from 13 to 18, not below than that. Tips untuk quali with children as the study participant. Tips untuk interview ke? Etik Atira, you buat interview kan? Bukan observation ke apa? Etik Atira tolong bagi tahu. Kalau untuk children, okay, pengalaman saya responden, salah satu jenis responden saya warga emas. And then struktur ayat, cara kita present, cara kita tanya kena ikutlah based on contoh sebagai salah satu contoh, dia academic background. Mungkin ada certain yang cepat faham soalan tu, ada certain yang macam kurang faham, then kita kena bagi tahu balik. Okay, so sama juga dengan etik Atira, bagi saya kena sedia, kena prepare cara macam mana kita nak approach children, okay, kanak-kanak umur 13 tu lain dengan 18 tahun kan. 18 tahun dia macam dah dewasa sikit kan. So mungkinlah cara kita nak tanya soalan, cara kita approach tu biasa sahaja, okay. Tetapi kalau children 13 tahun, dia baru 13 tahun contohnya, baru lepas sekolah rendah, mungkin dia a bit childish sikit lah mungkin for certain yang belum matured kan. So mungkin approach cara kita tanya, pemahaman dia tu lain. So kita kena guna approach lain juga. Okay. Envivo atau Atlas adalah software untuk bantu percepatan analisa. Betul. Conceptual framework should be in chapter 2 or 4. Setahu saya dekat chapter 2, literature review and framework. Okay, tapi based on macam mana university you suggest lah. Tapi kalau secara generalnya, contohnya chapter 4 itu finding sepatutnya. Okay. If we use 7 expert as informant, is it enough? Sama soalan dengan atas tadi kan. If they are able to answer your research question, yes. There is no good or no to determine. Yeah, refer back to saturation data slide. Betul Azura. CF tu selalunya chapter 2. Saya guna Atlas sebab murah lesson. Lagipun saya dah ikuti kursus Dr. Ani Munirah. Betul. Tapi SB saya pakai Envivo. Dr. Initiative anywhere if I wish to review them. Saya tak pasti universiti saya ada publish ke tak. Can you please to go to saturation slide? How can we determine the study reached to saturation? Okay, Nasrin, actually we kat sini, okay, over here we have the definition for data saturation. Okay, data saturation is reached when there is enough information to replicate the study, when the ability to obtain additional new information has been attained, and further coding is no longer feasible. Sorry, okay, Nasrin, meaning to say, let's say we have interviewed respondent one. Okay, respondent one give the feedback about A. Okay, we attend finding A. Okay, and then after we interview second respondent, okay, second respondent give findings B. Okay, and then interview the third respondent give A. Okay, and then interview fourth respondent give B. Okay, and C. Okay, meaning to say but then after we have interview certain amount of respondent and number, okay, there is no new findings found. Only A and B, and then we can stop. Okay. When you no longer get new information, it has saturated point. Betul. Initially, I analyzed using Atlas, but it not impressed my supervisor, so back to analyze manually. Oh, okay. Ya kah? Kenapa ya, Anita type? Kenapa not impressed maksudnya? Salah tema ke macam mana? So, okay, thank you. So, bila sebaiknya kita validate, adakah masa proposal write up atau selepas approval of the proposal? Okay, Atira. Kalau saya, the best adalah untuk tunjukkan kita ready, okay, baik untuk kita ada draft. So a draft interview question lah, tetapi bagi saya lah, sebabnya untuk kita proceed, kita perlukan approval thesis tu kan, nak cakap thesis tu dah diterima ke tak, dan interview question pun kita dah develop based on proposal tu. Okay, saya takut bila kita dah validate soalan, tiba-tiba fakulti sebenarnya tak nak sebenarnya tajuk tu, ada mungkin ada some problem sebab certain orang ada different opinion tentang certain topik kan, mungkin fakulti suruh ubah, and then kita dah validate, susah lah macam tu kan. Kalau saya lah, the best kita macam play safe lah. Okay, play safe untuk proposal tu, the best untuk kita ada some idea lah, walaupun mungkin tak complete interview question tu, at least kita ada brief idea. Maksudnya as in, panel masa kita defend proposal tu dah tahu lah, dah kita faham at least apa nak buat seterusnya kan. At least dah ada some draft, and then lepas approve kita boleh validate lah. Sebab kalau tak silap saya, untuk pergi expert validation tu, hopefully kita kena ada, kalau universiti saya lah, kita kena ada satu surat. So surat itu kita boleh gunalah untuk approach examiner tu, di samping dengan official surat yang mungkin SV buat untuk lantik examiner tu. Tapi the best adalah selepas approval lah bagi saya lah. Okay. Maksudnya at least kita dah pergi jumpa expert tu dengan proposal yang dah betul. Okay, tak adalah macam kita uncertain lagi ke sebab belum approve kan. What is the minimum and maximum question for the interview? How do we know whether or is the question is sufficient? Okay, sebenarnya ini function kita buat expert validation tu. Okay, sebenarnya kalau kita nak cakap minimum maksimum 10 ke 20 ke, itu bagi saya lah, itu agak kurang tepat. Sebabnya nombor minimum maksimum tu berdasarkan kepada RORQ kita. As long as RORQ kita kan untuk setiap study kan berlainan. So macam mungkin study A, study orang ni ada 10, mungkin study orang ni ada 15. Kan lain-lain sebab lain RORQ, lain apa yang kita nak capai, lain apa yang kita nak tanya kan. So mungkin sebab ini kita kena get back kepada LR dan juga advice daripada expert. Contohnya kalau kita nak study pasal A, okay, literature kata untuk kita study pasal A kita kena tahu 1, 2, 3 benda ni. So as long as kita dah include dalam interview question to A, B 1, 2, 3 ni, then should be okay. Okay, sama juga dengan expert. Mungkin expert kata soalan ini perlu tambah. Expert kata soalan ni perlu buang. As long as dia opinion dia kata soalan ni dah cukup, yang ni kena buang, dan saya rasa okey lah. Susah untuk kita kata minimum ataupun maksimum lah. Tapi as long as kita dah ada soalan ini cukup untuk bantu kita nak mencapai RO, then okay. Interview question need to be added from previous research or can mix up your own question for semi. Oh, dia Aisyah Akila, bagi saya sama je dengan quantitative. Okay, kita boleh adapt ataupun adopt. Okay, tapi kalau kita dah adapt, contohnya kita dah ambil kopi 100% sama daripada study lain, dan kita cite lah. Tapi kalau kita baru buat sendiri dan kita minta tolong expert lah untuk validate, ataupun kita support dengan LR kata untuk tahu A, untuk kaji A kita kena ada elemen 1, 2, 3, and then kita ambil literature lah. Literature kata scholar ini yang kata untuk tahu A kena ada 1, 2, 3, and then kita justify macam tu. Bagaimana nak rujuk doktor selepas ini untuk tunjuk LR saya? Boleh pas dekat Dr. Asma ataupun boleh mesej saya je. Ya, Dr. Informants. Sorry, saya dah lupa. Mas tadi, 7 expert 7 expert sebagai informant kan? Sekejap, saya cari masa yang saya dah lupa soalan ni.
Lebih kurang macam tu lah doktor. Maksudnya saya terkhilaf tadi. Because I think everybody is doing the same thing like me. I am doing case study. So basically dalam case study ni saya nak expert je lah yang jawab saya punya interview.
Okay, so kalau lah objektif you nak kaji opinion pasal expert, then okay lah, go for it. Jangan RO kita nak tahu pasal contohlah kalau saya kan warga emas, tentang yang bekerja lah. Bukan semua warga emas tu bekerja kan. Warga emas yang bekerja ada juga layman, orang warga emas yang biasa. Dan kalau saya include yang expert sahaja, tak boleh lah kan. Saya kena ada opinion daripada warga emas yang biasa-biasa saja, yang bukan expert, orang rakyat marahan contohnya. Macam tu. Dan kalau lah RO you nak tahu expert sahaja, then okay, kita get back kepada RO.
Noted. Terima kasih.
Okay. Can we mix data from interviews and content analysis? Mix data dekat findings ke, Sharofi? Longer. Sharofi, mix data dekat findings ya. Okay, kalau kita berbalik kepada asal. Kita stick kepada macam mana kita nak present findings berdasarkan RO kan. Maksudnya kita dah jangan lari daripada RO RQ kita. Okey, dan contohlah RO1. Okey, RO1 kita cakap objektif dia untuk apa, dan kita kena bagi tahulah in order untuk kita fulfill untuk capai objektif RO1 ni, ada dua method yang kita guna untuk capai RO1, which are interviews and second content analysis. So kena bahagi dua lah macam tu. Tapi boleh juga untuk RO1 tu present based on tema. Contohnya tema A, tema B. Tema A mungkin you nak present ambil daripada interview. Okay, dan tema B yang you dapat untuk RO1 tu mungkin daripada content analysis. Tapi kena betul-betul tulis dengan cantik lah supaya examiner tu tak confuse kan. Tapi yang rootnya untuk Sharofi susun ikut RO dulu, dan RO ikut method apa, interview ke content analysis ke, dan tulis dengan clear dekat situ. Nanti examiner akan confuse. Okay, mungkin boleh sebelum ni saya ada share macam mana kita nak tulis findings longer. They said because of the things. Sorry, Umi Nasrah tadi pasal apa ya? Syarafi, for interview, do we need to do pilot interview? Okay, sebenarnya kalau kita pilot review, pilot study, okay. Sebenarnya ada beberapa tujuan lah untuk pilot study tu. Tujuan pertamanya adalah untuk kita lah sebagai researcher, so called, untuk kita familiar dengan setting interview tu, untuk kita familiar macam mana kita nak tanya responden nanti. Okay. Yang kedua adalah untuk kita double check lah sama ada responden tu faham ke tak soalan tu. So nanti kita, kalau dia tak faham, mungkinlah yang responden lain pun tak faham, then kita kena get back, kita edit balik lah structure soalan, cara kita tanya tu. Okay. Dan ketiga, ada juga scholar kata tujuan pilot study adalah untuk kita tahu sama ada research protokol kita diterima oleh responden ataupun tak. Okay. So berbalik kepada soalan, do we need to do pilot interview? Bagi saya perlulah. Okay, kalau susunan study saya validate dulu dengan expert, saya buat pilot study, and then saya ubahlah sikit mana-mana elemen ataupun soalan yang macam warga emas responden tu tak faham, and then saya edit balik, and then saya hantar kepada research ethics committee lah untuk diorang review balik. So at least dekat situ kita ada strong proses lah dekat situ, expert validation, kita buat pilot, and then kita go for ethics review. Atira, focus group discussion. Alamak, apa yang soalan tadi? Atira, boleh tolong guna mic tak? Saya dah lost sebab banyak sangat. Ada 53 new message lagi. Kita habis pukul 10 malam.
Oh, tak apa sebab tadi doktor dah reply.
Okay. Okay, sorry, thank you.
Okay.
Siti Syahira nak cite dari mana untuk expert CRISPR 2015? Is it latest? Tentang apa? Siti Syahira? Okay, bagi saya ada certain benda yang kita perlu yang latest punya. Contohnya macam statistik kan, ataupun latest population kan. Tetapi ada certain benda, certain definition contohnya. Mungkin sekarang ni kurang dah expert scholar yang study pasal tu. Dan terpaksalah kita ambil yang lama sikit kan. Ini site pasal apa? Tapi saya tak clear. Ini site untuk apa? Untuk expert. Macam justification ke, Syahira? Tapi kalau untuk yang the bestnya 5 tahun ke belakang kan. Contohnya ini 2021, maksudnya 2016 ke atas. So untuk bilangan expert, saya rasa boleh saja sebab Creswell ni famous kan. Kan Creswell. Okay. Alright. In focus group guideline dalam proposal, do we need to put all these different way of asking? Or saya boleh letak the basic question saja. Different way of asking. Okay, kalau you dah ada different way of asking tu, but you include. Sebab you nak tunjukkan dekat examiner, okay, saya dah tahu cara nak buat macam mana. Then at least panel akan kata, oh, you dah ready kan, at least. You dah clear juga. You dah clear macam mana you nak buat. So tunjukkan dekat panel yang you dah clear. Okay. Bagaimana nak mesej saya? Boleh tanya Dr. As? Booking personal berapa? Just ni boleh tanya Dr. As. Do we need to confirm our result of finding with expert? Boleh juga. Ada satu term team review. Saya dah lupa apa. Team validation. Ya Allah, saya dah lupa term dia tu. Pun boleh, dan selagi satu kita boleh guna LR juga. Tengok LR pun boleh juga asal daripada expert. Okay, bye Nasrin. Nasrin dah tak ada. Berapa untuk mendapatkan personal coaching? Jika dalam mixed method, data kualitatif perlu validate dari pakar? Tak. Jika dalam mixed method, okay, data kualitatif perlu validate dari pakar. Data findings kan? Kalau saya better validatekan pakar juga, ataupun macam soalan tadi kita guna LR, justify support dengan LR findings kita tu. Okay. Okay, soalan dah habis. Ada soalan lagi? Sekarang pukul 5, 9 minit. Ada soalan lagi tak?
Doktor,
Ya?
boleh tolong share yang kelas yang tadi, yang kelas full tadi tu.
Kelas
Explain bagi terang lagi.
Oh, okey.
Understanding qualitative tu.
Yang ni ke As?
Yep.
Okey. So sebagai contohnya kalau tadi kan kita ada review secara ringkas lah macam mana nak include. So nanti untuk kelas yang lagi panjang tu kita boleh go into detail lah macam mana cara kita nak tulis findings contohnya. Okey. Macam mana kita nak present qualitative data. Okay, macam mana quotation ke kan, quotation daripada respondent tu. So secara in detail kita boleh discuss dekat situ dengan saya cuba bagi contoh lah, bukan dari thesis saya je. Saya cuba cari contoh daripada ada a few expert jugalah. Okay. Ada soalan lagi? Okay, chatting kejap. Untuk Telegram. Untuk coaching nanti contact Dr. As ya. Can we have the slides? Boleh, nanti saya bagi. Bagi Mekdi dulu. Boleh, nanti saya bagi. Dah ada dengan Dr. Asma. Nanti dia pass je. Dr. ada buat workshop untuk proposal. Boleh je, nanti request tajuk ni dekat Dr. As. Okay, nanti boleh kita buat.
Saya rasa kelas yang understanding qualitative thesis tu dia lebih kurang macam proposal. Tapi
Boleh
lebih
juga.
detail, kan?
Boleh.
Tapi lebih detail lagi, which is
betul.
lagi bagus dari berbanding kelas proposal lah.
Proposal
sebab
1, 2, 3
proposal 1,
kan?
2, 3 saja.
Betul. Boleh. Ada soalan lagi? Sama-sama.
Ada soalan dah?
Ada soalan lagi tak?
Okey, tadi ada yang request recording, nanti saya share dekat Telegram group link untuk recording lah. Okey. Okey, jadi kalau dah tak ada soalan, kita boleh akhiri kita punya sesi. Okey, itu sajalah cukup saya rasa. So, terima kasih banyak pada Dr. Aslinda dan juga kawan-kawan yang sudi bersama dengan kita pada petang ni. Okay, so untuk pengetahuan, Telegram Klinik Bofi itu adalah platform untuk kita share kelas-kelas apa semua kan. So saya percaya semua memang dah ada kat situ dah. Right, jadi boleh je ajakkan kawan untuk join lagi, untuk lagi memeriahkan grup Telegram kita tu. Okay, so I end the session here. Okay, so see you next class. Assalamualaikum, selamat petang.
Thank you, Doktor.
Thank you, terima kasih.
Thank you, Doktor.
Okay,
Terima kasih, Doktor.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih,
Doktor.
Sama-sama. Bye.
Bye-bye.